And in the defense, a bunch of guys were like, "Cool, new cowboy boots," because they were cowboy boots.
Yeah.
But I was like, where did this? It was just very random. But it felt like a kind of, I don't know, trying to. It's okay, guys. Like, I'm thinking about you.
Scotty Braun and Trevor May right off the jump, and Trevor May right here as well. Joining us. We're going to have a great show today. I'm really excited for this bonus episode of Foul Territory. First off, dude, good to see you. How you doing? Welcome to the digital show world.
I'm doing great, man. It's good to be here. I didn't know you guys were going to be here in person, so I heard it was happening, but I thought we were going to like zoom in or something. So it's awesome. We got the booth or the folding table, and we're hanging out. Dude.
A little cross-country action to come here and experience this. I don't know how much you've seen yet, and it's starting to fill up already, and it just kind of opened up. But outside, they shut down the streets. It's a massive street fair. Amazing when you take care of the city of Oakland and give them a party and something that is worth attending, they show up in droves.
It's so weird.
Isn't that a wild concept?
It's almost like they really care about community, you know?
And this is all run by Last Dive Bar, Oakland 68s, who take care of their people, right? They put this all together with the city. The mayor's going to be here later. But, I mean, how did you find out about this, and how excited were you to show up to something like this?
Well, it was being mentioned quite a bit towards the end of last year. I think they're like, well, should we do this? Like, I think they were kind of waiting to see, because, you know, you never know if a team's going to put something together, and competing. When you compete with that stuff, then it becomes the whole thing again. But then it became pretty apparent they weren't. And that's when the Rumble started happening, and then stuff. They just were kind of like live tweeting the process, and then, as you can imagine, my name was being tagged quite often, which is I mentioned earlier, and they apologized for it. That was not annoying. It was very actually exciting for me. And once they said they reached out, and my assistant was like, "Do you want to go?" I'm like, "Absolutely." And I don't need anything. Let's just go down there.
We love baseball. We love MLB promoting the game. You're fresh off retiring, obviously, and we'll talk about you're all over the place, and we'll continue to be in the digital podcast, TV, whatever kind of space, right? But my thing is also, when you have a fan base like this, that's obviously hurting, it's not being treated well, how liberating is it for you to be kind of off the team? And you can talk about the beauty of baseball, but also talk about the shitty parts of baseball, which is a community that's, at least for now, going to lose its team.
Yeah. It's definitely freeing. I think that my reaction to retiring, or my announcement, was a pretty good example of that, because none of that was planned. It kind of just flowed out of me. But anyone who knows me really well knows that's not remotely surprising. I am a person who, when I feel strongly about something, keeping it in is very, very hard for me to do. And that was very hard at times when I was playing. But it's good to kind of just go to bat for people that I don't know. I think that sometimes we lose sight of what things are for, and from, you know, business to making things to whatever. And it's for people. Like, we make things for people. Sports are for people. Everything's for people. And that gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, and where the people aren't being factored in as much as I think they should be. So now I'm excited to, you know, have takes on that and just shed some light on some of the things. But, you know, at the same time, I also know that baseball is awesome in a lot of ways too, and that it's not something that is insidious or bad by any means. It's got elements just like anything else.
Passionate fan base. You obviously spent your last season in Major League Baseball with Oakland. That's how you finish your career. But of course, in the past, you spent time with teams like the Twins, the Mets. What was your experience like with the A's compared to some of the other ball clubs? Pros and cons.
Like, interesting, especially going Mets to A's.
Very, very. Like?
It's so funny, because I actually, you know, I have lots of conversations with Mets fans. I love interacting with Mets fans, because they are their own unique type of passionate. Some would say cynical at times, but like, that is just kind of, you know, own it, right? Yep. But it's passionate. It's like they live and die, and these people also live and die. So it's like, I'm like, you guys, if you Mets fans, I said this the other day, I said, Mets fans, if you know an A's fan, reach out and show them some love, because they love their team as much as you love your team. And there's a lot of parallels there, I think, between the fan bases. It's obviously a different situation where they're at, and ownership wise, and, you know, investment wise, and expectations wise. And there was, in terms of like winning expectations, that wasn't obviously a huge thing last year, and there is a part of like when you're working through something or you need to make adjustments. Sometimes that's the best situation for you to be in. So, and I had all the I had the struggles with the mental health and stuff, and so I'm very very blessed that I was able to. I might not have been able to handle the way or as kind of openly maybe somewhere else, just because of the pressure to get back, and like it's just not as easy to do when it's higher profile. So that was very very helpful. Not that the Mets would have handled it well. Just it's just the noise. Removing noise from your life is part of that process, and when you're in a very noisy place, it's hard to do that. So
sure.
Yeah, it's but the passion fans, like even in Minnesota, I mean, like there's just so much. I've seen so many people really love their teams, and I've had such a good time playing for all these organizations. But they're also like Midwest versus Northeast versus West Coast, like also way different in terms of like personality and vibe, and so like I love them all in their own ways, and I would not have done it any other way.
So you were a veteran on a team that was full of obviously like league minimum, fresh out of the minor leagues, bunch of rookies. And what was it like to kind of be around those guys, especially say last season, when not only is it a team that wasn't good, right? They're not investing in the team. So you don't have a bunch of veteran friends that are coming in to save the day. Guys are learning, they're trying to develop. And then also they have to deal with news every week or two about the A's. Like that was all going on this past year, right? So like all of a sudden, in addition to what was going on with them not taking care of the ballpark, that's been a thing for a long time, not investing in the team. You're getting quotes from the commissioner, from John Fisher, from Dave Cabell, the president of the team, about relocation. Like all of that news was going over the past year. I'm sure guys in the clubhouse brought it up, right? Not as much in front of the media, but like suddenly, that was the topic of the day in the clubhouse.
I mean, I'll be honest, the person bringing it up was me, because I when I think something is an injustice, I just can't let it go. And I'll be honest, like not everyone's aware, and they're like, obviously this is not ideal, but it's also a bunch of guys who are like, I'm in the big leagues for the first time, and I do not want anyone to think that I'm not happy to be in the big leagues for the first time. And that's really common everywhere. Baseball, like, there's been conversations about rookie hazing and making guys like pimping homers first when you get up, making guys comfortable quickly. And there is still this, like, there is a level of trying to figure out how to be comfortable. And that is not the best way to do it if you're a young guy. And so they kind of just deferred to me. Like, really, they were just like, let's just let Trevor be the one who's mad, and we'll just. But if all the stuff was removed and they were in my position, they'd be like, yeah, I didn't like that very much. It's I would like to be more certain about what the future is going to be like, as opposed to wildly uncertain. So it's obviously not a great situation. And people weren't happy. There was some goofy stuff that happened that where you're just like, where we're all kind of just like,
give me one. I think when we spoke to you, I think you were still, this was during the season when we spoke to you on FT. You brought up like a chair situation, but whether it's that or you have something else. Yeah, I mean,
this one's more maybe ownership related.
Sure.
And I don't know why I actually haven't spoken about this much, but we were given a gift after the announcement. And
the relocation announcement.
So it went out, and we came home, and there was gifts in our lockers, and that gift was cowboy boots. So I don't wear cowboy boots. And also, they didn't get my size right either, which I don't know whose fault that is. That's just neither here nor there. But I'm like, I'm probably not going to wear these, but also they don't fit. But I was interested about the brand and about why these. And lo and behold, it is a brand owned by Gap.
Oh, classic.
And they are not the most expensive offering that they have for that brand that doesn't necessarily have a lot of luxury. So I'm like, so the question was like, what is this for? And I still don't know to this day.
We're going to Vegas. Here's cowboy boots.
There was no letter or
nothing.
Anything.
Not even a letter.
No.
Just every locker had cowboy boots.
Yeah. And in the defense, a bunch of guys were like, "Cool, new cowboy boots," because they wear cowboy boots.
Yeah.
But I was like, where did this? It was just very random.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like a kind of, I don't know, trying to it's okay, guys. Like, I'm thinking about you. And it
Here's a
did the
little gift that
opposite.
costs us nothing because we own the company that made these.
Interesting. Yeah, it was an interesting play. So it just was kind of I wanted really badly. That was kind of the moment where I was like, this needs to be all over the internet. But at the same time, like, that doesn't really do anything. It's just another funny thing. And now it's just kind of a funny anecdote for me at this time. But like, I think I took the boots home. I was gonna donate them like right away, but I was like, you know what? I want to like put these on display at my house. So I think they're in the garage. I gotta put a shelf up and put them up because I don't know. It's just kind of a funny story at this point. But I still have these boots, and I don't know what to do with them.
That's historical memorabilia.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is always the moment when you'll know, hey, when I think back to the relocation announcement, and it was super awkward, I showed up, and there were cheap Gap boots at my locker.
We know how the commissioner's office has done that last 2 years, too, giving a gift.
They gave,
so I think
it's iPods or something?
It was
AirPods or something?
We had Beats by Rob the first year. Which was funny because the box is this big, and then you open it, and there was a box this big in the bin, which that's just funny. But there was a gift. It was like obviously well planned out. There was a letter explaining that was right after the lockout, and then last year was the Yeti tumblers. But we got 2, and they had Bluetooth speakers on top. So
okay.
And I'll be honest, I use them every day. So
sure, right.
I mean, who doesn't want? Yetis
it's a
are
peace
great.
offering.
It's
a
like,
peace offering.
Hey, so
we
maybe
have a
that's
lot of
where
going on. But here's this.
Maybe that's where the idea came from. I'm thinking, but yeah, I still don't understand the boots.
Do you remember also, just reminded me of when Miggy had his retirement tour going on this past year, and they gave him a bottle, I think, of alcohol?
Of Camus, yeah.
Yeah. Was anyone saying anything about that? It just reminded me because, like, first of all, I think it was a cheap bottle, but also,
it was a normal bottle. Camus is very nice wine. It's a Napa.
Oh, okay.
Like, people who are from around here know that Camus is really nice wine.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys who drink it on the plane and take it with them. But usually you get the big one. I didn't actually know it wasn't until I signed it. I knew. Oh yeah, but that's like a Bay Area thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool. We'll get like probably the big, like, the outrageously large bottle where it's like a keepsake.
Yes.
But then I signed it.
I was like, oh, sized bottle.
That's not what it is. And again, I don't know how that process works or whatever, but like, yeah, with the history, it just wasn't that great of a thing to look back on, and I feel bad a little bit for Kotz a little bit there too, having to. It wasn't a huge deal at the time, but
sure, but everything gets picked up
thing,
because it's Major League Baseball. It's a multi-billion-dollar sport.
Everyone's going to find every angle to make it funny or goofy or a joke,
especially when the microscope is
already on it. Yeah.
An ownership situation like this. And there are many teams that do it right. Like they actually sit down and they really think about, hey, Miggy's coming to town this series. What should we do? Let's get something.
I remember the
cool,
Twins did it for Mo.
Right.
A rocking chair to broken bats. Like, that is super Midwest, but also like awesome. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but still really cool. Yeah, it wasn't one of those.
This is just like hey, let's hit up, whatever. Either
like you're on your way to the party and you forgot to pick something up.
Exactly.
I get it.
It feels like that.
I understand.
Where there's certain things that are not that difficult to mess up.
Yeah.
On the team itself, because obviously, A's fans are A's fans.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's taking so long for them to kind of get back on the winning side of things? I say that because, the team tanked for like 4 or 5 years at this point, right? And the Baltimore Orioles have been tanking for about the same time period until about 2 years ago, and they are a freaking powerhouse now. They are probably the favorite to win the AL East, them or the Yanks, and they have the best farm system ranked by multiple publications. And I was just spending some time last night going through things, and I'm just like, what's going on? Because, the drafting, developing, all of that. Like, there are some guys, like you played with this past season. Geloff looks like he's going to be a dude. Soderstrom's a good bat. But, like, there's not a ton of top-end talent yet coming along. Do you notice anything going on that front? Because it's not – I imagine that, like, Billy Beane and David Forst, they're trying to put a winning product on the field. They're just dealing with the resources they have.
Exactly. That's got to be one of the harder jobs in baseball right now.
Yeah.
For Forsey and for Kotz. Like just how do you then go, hey, we're trying to win when like you don't know? It's not even about like we don't have resources. It's about like it's uncertainty about what are the resources and what are we going to do in the situation. But I think it comes down to this: if you don't know, if you're not certain what the future of the organization is, how can you then do the future of the team?
Yeah.
You got to do one has to come before the other. And there's a little bit of holding steady and waiting to see how that shakes out before they start like it's just hard to it's a kind of a band-aid situation.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's still uncertain, and I feel bad for those guys. So it's kind of on them to win despite all of the situation, and just keep getting better, even though it's not kind of a collective thing that they're doing kind of as a group.
Like
and
an us against the world kind of thing.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's very Oakland also. Like
Yeah.
the recent good teams have all had that kind of mindset and stuff too. So that there's no better place to do it than here. So I'm really excited to see how the Gelofts and the Sodersmiths do, and I'm excited to see Shea Langoliers and what types, because he's got the leadership chops. People don't talk about him enough. I think that he's about to do something big, and I'm very impressed by him. So,
and if Mason Williams stays healthy,
he's like
his
Joe
stuff is
Boyle.
insane.
Like they have
there's some
guys.
dudes. Yeah.
It's just going to be about like developing that identity. This is how we win games, and then doing it. And they're still just finding the this is how we win game situation. And I think that it's guys are going to just make it happen. And Kotze's one of the guys who can take that. This is how we win, and then put it into play every day.
Yep.
And it'll happen. It's just about. I think that's going to happen before it becomes certain above, for sure.
And unfortunately, they'll probably be on the road for quite a few games.
Yeah,
starting next year.
That's not great.
Does not make life easy, right? It's
No.
just like the uniform situation, which we'll cover another time. But like, if people are like, why are they complaining so much? You just want to go out and play and not worry. Like if someone, can see
all
it
these little things that are just like also out of our control, but like should be in our control. Like that's just the more things that pile up. It's like, oh my gosh, and they want to stop answering questions about it too.
Yes.
So a lot of guys just wearing their old pants because they look the same. So it's what we did when we got sent to minor league camp. We just put our big league pants on,
Right.
Because they're better.
Yes,
So
exactly.
So just do that, guys.
Yeah, you don't want to worry about like OnlyFans popping up with your pants and all that shit. So
yeah,
makes
too
sense.
many of those photos coming out. I feel bad for those guys because they ain't gonna those photos ain't coming off
They're
the internet.
forever.
They're there forever.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thanks for coming here. Thanks for
course.
swinging by.
Anytime,
Awesome to
man.
see you. We'll be chatting obviously during the season. We'll talk more about that,
Cool.
at some point. But appreciate you, dude.
All right, man.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.